we have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children.
Hello, and welcome to our 7th annual MLK Jr. celebration. Today, we honor the legacy and many contributions of Martin Luther King Jr. Warren County Public Schools is proud to honor and recognize not only the outstanding contributions of MLK Jr., but also our commitment to providing equitable opportunities for all of our students. On behalf of the Warren County Public Schools Equity Council, we're proud to honor and recognize some outstanding students that represent the very best of Warren County Public Schools. We hope you enjoy our celebration, and we thank you for joining with us as we are committed to providing the very best opportunities for all of our students. Please join me in welcoming Abigail Orr and Paris Carlson from Greenwood High School, who will be singing God Bless America, which will be followed by Ms. Sophia Kopensteiner from Greenwood High School, who will be providing the purpose of today's event while also introducing our keynote speaker. We will follow the program with musical selections by Warren Central High School and Drake Street Middle School students.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
As the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice." Justice is achieved by advocacy, standing up for a cause or a group of people, and King did exactly that. Today we are celebrating Martin Luther King's life, legacy, and the strides he took to strengthen our nation by fighting for justice for all. Over the past year, we have had many unjust tragedies. The March 2020 killing of Kentucky's own Breonna Taylor, the May 2020 killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, as well as many others, sparked worldwide Black Lives Matter and civil rights protests, and one of the broadest protest movements in the history of our country. Although born out of continued and more publicized tragedies, it has been promising that so many people of all walks of life are joining together in this movement to advocate for racial, social, policy, and legal reforms. We are seeing blacks, whites, minorities, men, women, old and young alike. It is not just those people closely affected by these atrocious acts that are speaking up and demanding for change, but a diverse group of citizens. Because we know that in order to build a strong and just community, everyone has to have equal opportunities. These protests and calls for justice are carrying on the legacy of King in their peaceful calls for reform. This should give us great hope. Margaret J. Wheatley once said, "There's no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about." Although some of us might feel like our voice is not strong enough to change the world, every individual can have an impact, no matter how big or small. We can start with ourselves and those around us. One individual might not be able to change the world, but we can most certainly make an impact in our schools, workplaces, and our community. My generation has been taught of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, but we never had the honor of living alongside him. King once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." There's still so much work to be done, and now the responsibility has been handed to my generation to serve along with fellow changemakers. In King's I Have a Dream speech, he makes multiple references to now is the time. He states that now is the time for democracy. Now is the time to fight for racial justice. And to quote him directly, now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. We must continue King's legacy by stepping up and using our voices to fight for equality and justice on behalf of all people, regardless of race, sex, gender, religion, ethnicity, or social status. Now is the time. Now is the time for events like Warren County Schools' celebration of Dr. King and Bowling Green community events and March on Monday. These events are opportunity to educate and inspire our community, especially our youth. They provide a platform for students to express their voices through art and writing, and encourage others to join us in our mission towards justice. Now is the time.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow.
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can but you won't let show. If you call me brother when you need a hand, we all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call me brother when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
If there is a load you have to bear that you can carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Call me. Call me.
Now I am pleased to introduce the keynote speaker for the 2021 Warren County Schools Martin Luther King celebration. Nikita Stewart, a graduate of Warren Central High School, is an acclaimed reporter for the New York Times. In 2018, the Newswomen's Club of New York recognized Stewart for her coverage of homelessness, mental health, and poverty. She has been a finalist for the Livingston Award and an Investigative Reporters and Editors Award. Ms. Stewart is the author of Troop 6000, the Girl Scout troop that began in a shelter and inspired the world. Ms. Stewart's book chronicles the challenges and triumphs of the first Girl Scout troop for girls in the New York City shelter system. Prior to joining the New York Times in 2014, Ms. Stewart worked for the Washington Post. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Nikita Stewart.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be your keynote speaker. The photo of me at a Warren County School Board meeting is saved forever in black and white. It was January 1990. I had just turned 18 years old. I knew I wanted to be a journalist, but I was a pretty good actor and public speaker. So there I was at the school board meeting in my inoffensive gray dress that nearly swept the floor. It had a white Peter Pan collar. The photo appeared the next month in the Bowling Green Daily News with a fairly long caption. Performance, it read. Warren Central High School senior Nikita Stewart performs a dramatic interpretation of material written by Coretta Scott King before the county school board in January. Ms. Stewart also performed the piece for a 30-minute television show produced by that high school's Afro-American History Club as part of February's Black History Month and aired by Storer Cable last week. Henry F. Moss Middle School's Afro-American History Club will be featured on a program Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I recently pulled the yellowed newspaper out of a scrapbook to get a better look. Thank you, Mom, for saving all of those memories, by the way. We didn't have crisp photos that you all can take with your smartphones today. There were no selfies back then. So people in the background of that black and white photo are blurred, but you can tell all of them are white. I counted 9 people, all adults. I think they were all school board members. There was a note on that page that read, material for this page was contributed by county school district officials and was edited by daily news editors. I suppose they didn't have enough stories to fill up the page that day because there was no other context for my photo. It was just that photo and the caption wedged in the middle of other stories with headlines like "School Creates Learning Program with State Grant," "Homework Hotline to be installed," "2 juniors receive award for steering bus to safety." Or maybe the full story of why I was reciting the words of Coretta Scott King at a school board meeting was too complicated, too embarrassing to explain. The school board invited me after I had made some demands. Little old me, a student, had confronted the school board meeting with the encouragement of some of my teachers. You see, you now know January as sort of an unofficial kickoff to Black History Month. We get 2 extra weeks to celebrate and recognize the contributions of Black people in the founding and growth of the United States, all because we begin with the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. You probably grew up singing to the traditional happy birthday song and immediately following up with a soul clap and a happy birthday to ya. That song, written by Stevie Wonder, came out in 1980 as people were pushing for the King holiday. There are lyrics we tend to skip over to get to that chorus. They're all about how King deserved a holiday. I was 8 years old, and I remember playing that entire album and that song on the record player over and over again. 10 years later, in 1990, we still didn't get a day off, but there was some recognition. At Warren Central, we had a monthly calendar that told us what the school cafeteria would be serving each day. So you knew that there would be pizza on Tuesday or Salisbury steak on a Thursday. The food wasn't awful, but I wouldn't recommend that steak. Anyway, I remember we returned to school after the Christmas break, and I looked at the calendar for January. Hamburgers, soups, and hot dogs were not the only things on that calendar. There was a birthday. There it was, on Tuesday, January 8th, Elvis Presley's birthday. I looked to the next week. I looked at January 15th, the next Tuesday. I don't remember what it said the cafeteria was serving. Maybe it was pizza. But I remember how angry I was to see nothing else in that box. It turned out this was a calendar that was distributed to all schools throughout the entire district. Someone had decided that the students and faculty needed to know that January 8th was Elvis's birthday, but January 15th, there was no recognition for a man so consequential to the civil rights movement that there was finally a federal holiday for him. I can't remember which teachers I told, but I remember that I had a strong support system at Warren Central. I was a leader of the Afro-American History Club, and Angela Townsend, who was never actually my teacher, was a mentor. And there was Aaron Milliken. When I was a freshman, he had called me to his office, and I heard my name over the loudspeaker, and I was so worried that somehow I was in trouble. But no, he explained, he had heard I was interested in journalism, and he encouraged me to apply to a summer journalism program at the University of Kentucky. I didn't get in. They told me I was too young, but guess what? Someone dropped out of a similar program at Western Kentucky University's summer journalism program, and guess who they called to take the spot? And as they say, the rest is history. At Warren Central, I had always been outgoing in the drama club, on the school newspaper, and even in the physics unclub. But I wasn't exactly a rabble-rouser until my junior and senior years. After I noted that there hadn't been a Black candidate on the homecoming court for a decade or more, I rallied the Afro-American History Club to block vote a single nominee. I swear I didn't know they would pick me, but when they announced my name over the intercom, I stood up in my U.S. history class and said, I'm going to add a little color to the court, before I exited the room and went to the principal's office. That wouldn't be the last time I was in the principal's office. As homecoming approached, I wanted to make sure people understood why I was on the homecoming court. For a pep rally, I painted my jeans with the words Black Power on one leg and Malcolm X on the other. The principal was outraged and tried to send me home, but I had all of those teachers and staff members behind me. Not only did I get to wear the jeans all day, I pumped my fist at the pep rally when the homecoming court was introduced. So I had all of these teachers and staff, several of them black, looking out for me. If I was so upset about Reverend King's birthday missing from the calendar, I should do something about it, they told me. I reached out to the school board. They said there was nothing they could do. The calendars were printed and distributed. I think they blamed an oversight and promised that it wouldn't happen again. But something else happened. I happened to be president of the Speech and Drama Club, and that year my piece of prose had been from a book by Coretta Scott King. So the school board invited me to take that show on the road. I went on a sort of tour. I got to miss class, and I went to all of these different elementary schools to speak. I read from the chapter when Reverend Dr. King was assassinated. The passage was long, but at one point I recited her words. At that moment came the shot. They told me it sounded like a firecracker. I remember at one performance, the students were sitting on the floor of a gym, many of them crisscross applesauce. They were moved by Mrs. King's words. I taught them something that day. I shared important history and explained why Dr. King was so instrumental in helping this country to strive to its ideals. I'm telling you this because change takes time, and it doesn't always stick. Sometimes we go backwards. Remember that Happy Birthday song was in 1980. Dr. King's birthday wasn't made a federal holiday until 1983. There I was in 1990 upset about that calendar, and all 50 states wouldn't recognize his birthday as a state holiday until 2000. It's 2021 now. Last year was not only marked by the pandemic, it was the year that our country grappled with racial injustice. I know so many of you probably felt closer to the issue than you ever had because of the killing of Breonna Taylor in Louisville. You feel it when it's closer to home. While the issue that I addressed with my 18-year-old voice did not involve police brutality, I shared that story with you because I want you to know that you can make a difference. You too can have a dialogue with the school board, with your local leaders, state leaders, and federal representatives. We have to keep talking to each other. We have to get past this divisiveness. We must end racism. Because we are having this program right now, I know there are still teachers and community leaders and staff willing to be in your corner, willing to listen. With their help, not only did I engage the school board gave me a platform to spread the story of the life of Dr. King to young, impressionable students. Dr. King inspired me. May he inspire you to stand up. Now is the time to make the real promises of democracy. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to open the doors of opportunity to all of God's children. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Thank you for having me. Goodbye.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living a life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
On behalf of the Warren County Public Schools Board of Education, we want to thank the Bowling Green Warren County Community Martin Luther King Jr. Planning Committee for judging the essay and art submissions. The middle school essay winner is Miss Janiyah Waller from Drakes Creek Middle School. Miss Waller will receive a $400 gift card from Amazon. Miss Waller, at this time, would you please come forward to read your winning essay?
Now is the time. Dr. Martin Luther King once said, "Now is the time to make justice a reality for all God's children." King was one of America's most well-known nonviolent activists who sacrificed his life trying to make our country a better place. Now is the time that young teens like myself should be the change in the world. Malala Yousafzai was 11 years old, just 2 years younger than me, when she stood up for what was right, her belief in a girl's education. She knew that girls should be able to go to school and be educated, and she took a stand. Now is the time that we should be like Malala, because if we don't, then no one will. Certainly not every teenager is like Malala, but every young person can find a way to make a change if we put our minds to it. There are ways to be just like Malala, but it requires strength, perseverance, and belief in change. Standing up for what is right is one of the simplest ways I can work towards this goal and take the initiative to change the world. Harriet Tubman once said, "You have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." I know belief in oneself is the basis to achieving anything. I need to learn to be true to my word and keep my promises that I know I can keep. Keeping promises makes a change in the world by letting people know that the leader they are following will do what they said and what they need to do in order to fix the problems we face. Anthony Hitt once said, "Keep every promise you make and make promises you can keep." Hitt's quote is relevant because it is only through the keeping of promises that we learn to build trust with those around us. The change in our world will not be easy. There will be challenges. All leaders face challenges. Dr. Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali were put behind bars, and Malala was shot. But all of this shouldn't knock us teenagers down or discourage us. You have to show your fellow man that you are not afraid to stand up for what is right. When someone threatens you, discourages you, or puts you down, you still have to try and change the world. Some challenges that I face in my efforts are discouragement or judgment because that's how people are. People are like this because they don't know any better, and they too are judged. People judge me because of who I am or how I dress. People behave like that because they think it's right. They think that because no one was there to teach them any differently. But I know that I can push past those challenges and do what I need to do. I'm going to push past them by letting the discouragement roll off my back and turn my head. Just because we face challenges doesn't mean that we let challenges rule us. I know that if I try, I will overcome any challenge that comes my way. I have to be strong and wise. I can be strong and wise by keeping my power and not letting people's negativity make me quit. Every leader needs an asset, something that will help them get through challenges. Some are friends or spouses, but for me, mine would be my family. I know that they will encourage me to do anything when I am down. I know that they will pick me up when I fall, and I know that I can trust them. They will help me, encourage me to overcome those challenges that I face. Challenges like negativity and discouragement. I have experienced those feelings when I would step off the bus at school each day. I could feel the stares from my peers simply because of my reserved personality and the positive choices I made in school. They judged me, but it did not change my desire to be who I am. Martin Luther King Jr. could have been discouraged by the threats on his life, but he wasn't. He still did what he knew would change the world for the better, even after his death. Another asset that I have would be my self-confidence. My self-confidence helps me get through any challenges that I have by being positive against the negativity from the people around me. Hope is being able to see the light despite all the darkness, said Desmond Tutu, a human rights activist who changed the world by resolving and ending apartheid. Apartheid is a policy or system of segregation or discrimination on grounds of race. All leaders need to have hope. Having hope in yourself in any circumstance will get you far in life. We should be the change we want to see. I will be the change in the world. My self-confidence assures me that people will take me seriously, and I know that I can keep promises, and know that I will try my hardest to change whatever faces us. I believe that what me and other young girls of color have to offer to the struggle will make a difference in the world, so that others can see the point of view of young black girls like me. I will make sure that happens by creating a club to help fundraise for school libraries and encourage young black girls to be even more interested in reading. Wanting to change the world is a big deal, and it takes an enormous amount of work, but not trying won't get us anywhere. Now is the time to make real promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to open doors of opportunity to all God's children. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood, said Dr. Martin Luther King. We should take action and change the world together. Now is the time we need to make a difference in the world. It's never too late. Now is the time that we take this problem seriously. Now is the time we open our eyes to see the problem, the discrimination against blacks, Latinos, and any other race. It's time that we young teens make a difference.
The middle school essay runner-up is Miss Dora Bamba from Drakes Creek Middle School. Miss Bamba will be receiving a $100 gift card from Amazon. The high school essay winner is Miss Mia Gonzalez from Greenwood High School. And Miss Gonzalez is a senior, and she will be attending college next year. She will receive the WCPS $1,000 scholarship. Miss Gonzalez, would you please come forward at this time to share your winning essay?
The Journey to the Mountain of Brotherhood. Imagine your name is Julian. You are a 43-year-old, straight, white man with a good-paying job, a healthy marriage, and a son named Alex. You and Alex go fishing every Sunday, and your family eats dinner together almost every night. You have a fulfilling life with no legal restrictions preventing you from living it to the fullest. Therefore, you pay little attention to politics. There is an upcoming election, and you opt out of voting because regardless of who wins, you still get your fishing trips and will still be able to put food on the table at night. You don't care who wins. Why should you? A new president is elected and makes it clear that he does not support gay marriage. You don't care. You aren't gay. However, one day you're fishing with Alex and he comes out to you as gay. A week later, the new president that you didn't care about makes gay marriage illegal. Maybe you should have voted. In the wise words of Martin Luther King Jr. himself, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. What is stopping this president from continuing to abuse his power? What if his next decision affects you and your rights directly? The mindset that we can ignore problems in politics, either because they do not apply to us, fixing them seems impossible, or because we assume that someone else will fix them for us, is immensely dangerous. One of the biggest hurdles we will have to overcome in our fight for equality is debunking mindsets like these. I plan on majoring in political science in college and becoming a politician. Of course, the ultimate goal is to run for president. I'm aware that the odds of becoming president are not in my favor, but my goal is not impossible. If every person my age said, I will be the president of the United States when I'm older, none of us would be taken seriously, but a handful of us would be correct. Why can't I be a part of that handful? It is no secret that a number of people go into politics to make money and do not care whose rights they have to take or how many lies they have to tell in order to buy themselves a mansion. While some people do go into politics with the goal of helping others, it is dangerous to make the assumption that benevolent people will continue to run for office. If every caring person in America had this mindset, we would end up with exclusively selfish politicians. If every person in America believed that they did not have the capabilities to make a difference, our country as a whole would become stagnant. If Dr. King had a mindset like this, we wouldn't know his name. Do you think people would have believed him if 5-year-old Martin Luther King Jr. went around saying that he would eventually become one of the biggest catalysts for change in our country's history? Probably not. Is achieving genuine racial equality in America going to be easy? No. Am I going to face challenges in the future? Yes. But I know I will not be alone in my efforts. Young people across America have been becoming increasingly more involved in politics, especially since the tragic and disgusting murder of George Floyd in May of 2020. An estimated and unprecedented 55% of youth voted in 2020, playing a crucial role in battleground states like Georgia and Pennsylvania. As long as we recognize the power we possess, persevere in the face of adversity, and stay away from unproductive mindsets, young activists in America will be able to overcome any challenge we face. The biggest obstacle in the way of obtaining equality is the illusion that it already exists. Martin Luther King Jr. urged Americans to make real the promises of democracy and lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. I am helping work towards these goals by realizing we are not yet at this rock. We are not yet at a place where a black mother can wake up and not worry that her son will be shot and killed on his morning run. We are not yet at a place where black men don't equate the flashing of red and blue lights with the flashing of their lives before their eyes. We are not yet at a place where an innocent black woman named Breonna Taylor can go home, go to sleep, and not get murdered by police in the middle of the night. Yes, on paper, black and white people have the same rights, but white people do not have to worry about things like this. Living without these realities should not be a privilege. Being able to trust that law enforcement has your best interest should not be a privilege. About 1 in every 1,000 black men are killed by police in America. This is why it is so imperative that we take immediate action to achieve true equality in America. The longer we wait, the more lives we lose. We must stop belittling the dire nature of the situation. Now is the time to create change. My hope for our nation is not just that we reach the solid rock of brotherhood. My hope is that we make the climb to the top of a mountain of brotherhood, overflowing with equal opportunity, justice, and compassion. I hope that from the top of the peak, we look down at our country's history and use it as unremitting motivation to never go back. I firmly believe that this level of ultimate prosperity is attainable, and that young people in America will have a momentous role in getting us there through education, patience, and employing the teachings of Martin Luther King Jr.
The high school essay runner-up goes to Miss Myra Jones, also from Greenwood High School. And Miss Jones will receive a $100 Amazon gift card as well. There were no middle school submissions for the art contest. However, there were some very impressive pieces submitted at the high school level. The high school art winner is Miss Emily Arnold from Greenwood High School. Miss Arnold will receive a $400 Amazon gift card. There was actually a tie for the runner-up for the art contest, and each of the runner-ups will receive a $100 gift card from Amazon. And those individuals are Alyssa Cunningham from South Warren High School and Abigail Abrams, also from South Warren High School. Each year, we enter all the names of the seniors that submitted either an art or an essay into a drawing for a $500 WKU scholarship. We had 13 seniors to submit a piece, and this year's winner for the $500 WKU scholarship is Miss Kyvie Lopez from Geo International High School. Now, we will have our closing remarks from Mrs. Paulitha Butts, principal at Alvaton Elementary School.
We would like to close by thanking each of you for taking your time to view our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. program. We would also like to say thank you to all of our amazing students and staff who worked hard to plan this event, and for all who submitted artwork and wrote essays. Thank you, Mr. Clayton, Warren County Board of Education, and Equity Council for your continued support. Last but not least, we would like to thank our wonderful community partners who donated the prizes for our art and essay winners. As we know, this is such an amazing opportunity for students to showcase their talents and for us to be able to provide students with the opportunity to receive scholarships, while also celebrating and remembering the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now we invite everyone to enjoy the closing video and song in memory of John Edmonds, a renowned local artist who enjoyed life and had a love for music.
I may never pass this way again. I've got to make the most of each fleeting day. Helping some lost lamb to find his way. Today I've got to hold my brother's hand when I see him trying, and I've got to wipe my sister's eyes when I see her crying. For I may never pass this way again. I may never pass this way. I may never pass this way again. So I've got to give all the love that's in my heart before I go. You see, my life cannot be like the dust that hides a rose's glow. Lord, I may never pass this way again. What if I never pass? Never pass this way again. Tell me, what difference will it make? Lord, if I've done the best, the very best I can, the best I can. Lord, what difference will it make if I've done the best I